It was a bitter night in late March 1922. The kind of cold that sinks into your bones, where even the animals seem quieter than usual. In the remote Bavarian countryside of Germany, nestled amongst dense woods and snow-covered fields, there stood a solitary farmhouse called Hinterkaifeck. To the outside world, it was just another farm. Quiet, tucked away, ordinary. But inside, something unthinkable had happened. 6 people, an entire family, were brutally murdered. Not just killed, but stalked, lured, and slaughtered with an axe-like tool. The killer never caught. Their motive still debated over 100 years later. This is the story of the Hinterkaifeck murders, a case as strange and terrifying as any ghost story, except this is all real. Hello? Oh, you Daisy Muppets?
Namaste.
Yeah.
Guten Tag for all the...
For all our
Guten
German
Nacht, is it? Nack?
I don't fucking know. I don't speak German.
Okay.
But close enough. It sounds legit.
Yeah.
Anyway, hello and welcome.
Yep.
To another, I guess, eerie up late with half awake and Nate. Yeah, up late with half awake and Nate. Not me, but just Nate.
Yeah. I'm half awake.
No, I'm half awake. You're Nate.
Yeah. I'm Nate.
Or we could swap if you want. I'll be Nate for the night.
Nah, I'm tired too.
Yeah, okay, so we're just half awake.
Just both half awake, yeah. But again, welcome. Welcome to all our lovely listeners. And today we're going to talk about this. As you heard in the lovely intro given by Mr. Half Awake.
Yeah.
It's a story about an entire family killed. But the thing is that in the intro, Josh did mention that no one knows who did it, right?
Yeah. If
it's a murder or what is it? Is it like sinister, malevolent creature that did it? We don't know. So we're going to talk about that, okay?
Yeah. Man, you're really grasping at straws.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't. Yeah. I wouldn't fucking know. I don't know the story. I just do the intro.
I know. And that's a part of the podcast that people who have been listening to us for years, they know that Josh is generally in like a half and half. He doesn't know what's going on.
Yep.
I just give him the intro to read because he's got to love this cool voiceover voice.
Yes.
So
smoke darts.
Yeah.
That's what helps.
That's the key. So today in the discussion we're going to discuss the Hinterkaifeck murders. Now, Josh, you know how we've been talking about the different cases like the Wu family and the the Burari murder case. And, this is another case very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's similar in the sense that though it's not considered or it's not like it's not concluded that it was a suicide or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is a loss of an entire family. Disappeared from the face of the earth without any explanation. Okay, so before I go into
that lineage,
exactly. So we're going to talk about the Hinterkaifeck murders. Now, this happened in 1922.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the other cases that we've spoken about, Josh, this is again like we mentioned, it is a loss of an entire family, not just one person, two person. This is like the loss of an entire family, and what happened in that 24 hours of them disappearing or being killed, only the family knows technically, right? But the things that led up, like the days leading up to or the months leading up to the murders, is the strange part of the story. Okay, not the murder itself. Now, this story happened in Bavaria. Okay, a very isolated town, like place in Bavaria. it's like a farm state, so it's like a farm area, right? So there's very isolated. It's one farmhouse in the next like 100 yards, and there's
So basically like Byford.
just like Byford in the 1800s. Yeah. So this is a very isolated place. The reason I'm saying this, and I'm emphasizing on it being isolated, there is a reason for this. Okay.
Yep.
Now, the location of this particular farmhouse, it was, like I said, it was located in Bavaria. This farmhouse called Hinterkaifeck was built around 1863. It's very old build, heritage build, right?
1863,
1863.
1922.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so it's a very old heritage build. Okay. The other part of the location itself, Josh, is that the farm sat roughly 1 kilometer behind a small, what is a hamlet? Do you know what a hamlet is?
No.
Okay.
Is it like an omelet made of ham?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sounds like
hamlet.
it.
Yeah. Hamlet. Yeah. So
no, I'm joking, guys. I'm not that stupid.
So it's a farm roughly 1 kilometer behind the small hamlet of Kaifeck. Hence it's known as Hinterkaifeck, okay? Which literally means behind Kaifeck.
Yep.
In Germany, right? Now the nearest town was Grobern. I hope I'm pronouncing this right, but Grobern. The nearest town basically to this farmhouse was Grobern, okay?
Yep.
And the closest larger community was in Schrobenhausen. Okay, Schrobenhausen.
Boy, we got Hitler turning in his grave tonight.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're turning, yeah. But so now, in short, basically, Hinterkaifeck was isolated, surrounded by fields. There's dense woodland everywhere. It's only accessible by a very narrow path. It's so narrow and it's so like isolated that you will probably you'll probably find it by accident. Even if you want to find it, you probably find it by accident faster than if you were actually looking for that area. It's that isolated, yeah. The farmhouse itself was a very traditional Bavarian style of house. The rural build itself, right? Made from timber, stone, with the main house, a barn, and then there's like these stables around it, all connected under just one roof. Do you know what I mean? So it's like this big barn, then you've got isolated like sections of animals and sections for house living and stuff like that.
Sounds like my Minecraft house.
Oh yeah. Exactly. That reminded me of your Minecraft house. So a common design in the region, generally to protect livestock and people during really harsh winters. So one of the regular, like the constant, is that there's a lot of snowstorms around that area.
Yep.
It sat alone in an open area, bordered by just woods. Okay, there was no immediate neighborhood at all. So the nearest neighbor would be like 100-200 yards away. Okay, so there's no one really around them. But because of the snowfall, people would not even mingle around with each other because it's like so densely snowing all the time, so on and so forth. Now, snowfall was common in late March. Okay, and on the night of the murders that we're going to talk about, a fresh layer of snow helped investigators actually trace the infamous murder trail. The reason why this location is important to know, the location itself, is because the location of Hinterkaifeck played a very central role in the they're not missing, but in the murders itself. Yep. Okay?
They're missing their souls.
Exactly. Yeah. It made the family vulnerable.
Yep.
Point number one. And that's why the location is important, okay?
Yeah.
No one could hear them, even if they were screaming.
Yep.
Now, it allowed the killer or killers to stay at the property without them knowing that they were staying in the property.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Let's start talking about the family that lived on the farmland itself. Okay? Now, the days before the murders, there was the family members basically. Let's talk about the family first, okay? So the family basically consists of the dad, who is Andreas Grober, okay, who's 63-year-old. He's the patriarch of the family. He's very strict as well, and he's a very unpleasant man, okay? He's known to be very difficult and very cruel, so people in the town didn't really like him as much. Okay? His wife, Kazelia, who was a very quiet and like very introvert, very withdrawn type of lady. Now, they had a daughter who was a widower. Okay, so she was a widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel. She was 35 years of age.
Very unique name.
Very unique, Victoria. Yeah, Victoria with a K, V-I-K.
Yeah.
Now Victoria had 2 children, little Cazelia, which is obviously named after the grandmother, age 7, and Joseph, who was just 2 years old. There was a housemaid, a living housemaid, who used to stay with the family itself and help them with their daily chores or whatever. With this family living in this particular farmhouse in Hinterkaifeck, they're very busy. The dad's always doing his farm work. He's, taking care of livestock. The mother's busy taking care of the house. The widowed daughter is there taking care of the kids. The kids like 7 and 2, so they're not really...
They're babies.
Yeah, they're babies. So they're technically... The mother's very busy behind them. And so the family is pretty like... It's just a regular, hardworking, stuff like that, okay? So they're very busy. So they don't really have time to sit quietly in the house. The father's always doing some shit. Mother's introverted, locked herself in the bedroom, whatever, okay? Now, they were very quiet in terms of associating with the town. So if the father, the main old man, Andreas, if he wanted to get anything, he would just go to the town, be grumpy with people, get his stuff and come back. But he would talk to his neighbors like the grumpy old man would talk to the neighbors and tell them what's going on. And
You're fucking telling me this man walks 200 yards to go fucking talk to someone?
To the neighbors, yeah.
Fuck that, bro. If my neighbor was 200 yards from me, first of all, my neighbors don't even know my name.
Yeah, and they're 1 yard away from you.
Less than.
Yeah. 0.1
200 yards?
200 yards.
Fuck no. They wouldn't even know my identity.
Yeah, especially...
They won't know I existed.
Yeah.
Especially if I was living 200
And see,
yards.
that you're confirming that how isolated the land is, that you wouldn't even bother going to someone's house.
Fuck no. I wouldn't even want to go outside.
Exactly.
That's why I was like, how is this man making money? Like, for a house like that? For a house like that,
yeah. But look, it's 100 years ago. It's isolated. I mean, you get, like, if there's no one around you, there's no fucking, shopping centers or whatever.
Why does that sound like heaven?
But again, this is more like hell when you think about it. Like, you're in this isolated fucking cold region. There's no houses around you. You're isolated with your family. More chances of you losing your head there than somewhere else.
Very true. Just give me a house with my family, my friends, just a couple people,
and you'll be happy.
Yeah,
exactly.
When I say a couple people, I probably mean like maybe like 2 hands and 2 toes worth of people. Same. That's about it.
I'm the same
at most.
Yeah. Because Andreas was like a very grumpy
human being.
People in the town generally didn't like him as much. There were rumors about him that made people more wary of him as well. So they were among in the town itself, like, and among the neighbors or whatever. There was this particular rumor that was going on about Andreas. Now, Andreas was known to be not just grumpy, but he also was speculated to have an incest relationship with his wife, Joseph's mother, which is the daughter, the widowed daughter. So there's rumors around or reports around that Joseph was actually Andreas' child, and not the widowed husband's, whatever, the ex-husband's or dead husband's son, which was technically supposed to be his grandson, but they would have been So locals whispered,
there was some hillbilly shit going on.
Some hillbilly stuff going on. So locals around the town whispered, and there was rumors that he had an incest with his daughter. Okay, we don't know this. That's what they spoke about. What a lot of people reported, basically. Okay, Victoria as well, the widowed daughter. Victoria had once been punished by law for her relationship with her father as well. So it's not just people talking about it, but there are apparent rumors or reports of her actually being punished by law itself 100 years ago. Okay, so she was
that's a big deal.
Yeah. So she was punished by the law in relations to
considering this happened 100 years ago. That's fucking huge.
Because of that, wherever she was living before, she had returned to live in the farm. So once you get married, you move out to the husband's area. But then
she did a thing.
She did a thing. Now, because of the rumors as well, there was a lot of tension around the family all the time. Like people didn't like them, no one wanted to talk to them itself. Not that they didn't want to talk, people also would avoid them because it's 100 years ago, right? Even now, I mean, not the laws change, but yeah. So tension was always present in that household.
Yeah.
But I don't think they deserved what happened to them, basically. Okay? So, days leading up to the murders, there were strange things that started to happen in the house. So they've been there for like, they've owned this house for like 100 years, probably ancestral house, and they've never come across anything strange around in their house, right? Other than the days leading up to the murder itself. Okay? Now, what was strange is that the lady who used to stay there as the housemaid, she basically used to complain to the family that she's hearing, like she hears these footsteps in the attic.
Yep.
But just the problem is that it was not just the attic. It was not footsteps or knocking sounds in the attic. It was basically sounds that were coming inside the walls, from inside the walls of the house. So not like someone's knocking on the door, someone's knocking from the other room and you can hear it, right? It was noise very isolated to something that was inside the wall.
Yep.
The housemaid kept hearing these things because the family is busy, they don't have time to be in the house. The maid would report these things.
Yep.
Okay, and she would say that I'm hearing sounds and stuff like that, and she got really fed up with this. So she came and told Mr. Andreas that, hey, look, I'm hearing like really creepy sounds in the house when no one's there. I know no one's there, and there's like these very heavy footsteps in the attic.
Yep.
But then it got to a point where the maid now started hearing these whispers and these sounds in the walls and these scratching sounds in the wall, and it's wood, right? So you could hear these scratching sounds and these, you know, these hums and these sudden like groans in the house and stuff in the walls itself. And so it got too much for her, and she said, look, Mr. Andreas, I'm gonna leave this job. I know I've been here for years, you've seen me, I've been working with you guys for years, but right now I think it's over, like something that like my threshold, right? You know what I mean? Like it's something that I can't take anymore. So she actually, because of what was happening, Josh, she actually left her job. She left that the house.
Yeah,
she didn't want
to
work environment, exactly. There was no HR.
Who knows? He might end up sleeping with the fucking maid too.
Yeah, who knows?
That's
so
horny bastard.
Yeah. So who knows? That could have happened. There's no description of the maid if she was hot or young or whatever.
No. Well, clearly for him, anything's the fucking goal, including your own children. So, what's gonna stop him from a fucking maid? He'd fuck a faucet if he could.
Yeah. So now, when she left, the problem is that the family started struggling a bit because obviously they need a hand with they need a maid to, do the cleaning, cooking, whatever, and to take care of the young kids and the mother as well. So it was a big property, so the father obviously needed someone to help them, right? Now, in order for them to find a new maid, they had to go to the town, ask people, if there's anyone who needs a job, whatever, and they couldn't find it. Find a new maid. Now, when the maid left, Andreas was working in the house, and he started hearing these knocks suddenly. So he started hearing these knocks, these footsteps in the attic. So he suddenly rushes up to the attic to see who's there, right? Opens the attic, goes in the attic, there's no one there, checks every corner of the attic, no one's there, comes down. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why can I hear it now? I thought, Miss Maid is just imagining things, but
he's like, she just tried to run away from my diddle fiddle.
Yeah.
Or my fiddle diddle. I don't know, something around there. There's a ditty joke there.
So
try to use baby oil. That's what it was.
You have to, yeah. So he started hearing. So he goes into the attic and he checks. There's no one there. He's like, oh shit, man! Like the maid was right. Like there are these sounds in the house. And then what happens, Josh, is that it starts to fuck with his head.
Yep.
Because if you listen to stories like the Amityville horror that we've discussed, and there's so many of these horror. The Devil Made Me Do It. Whatever.
Go check them out, guys.
Check it out. Yeah. You will find that whenever there is an evil presence in the house, it doesn't affect everyone the same.
No,
it makes the
it
husband
does,
angry. It makes the wife hear things or see things. It started doing the same thing. It started affecting his head a bit, right? It turned into a really bad like psychosis, obsession. So what he would do is he'd just go around the house constantly checking, and he'd like tell his missus, he's like, Kazilia, can you hear the sound? And she's like, no, what are you talking about? And he'd just keep going around, you know, he'd go to the shed, he'd go to the barn, yarn, whatever, have a yarn, come back.
Go to the barn, have a yarn, come back with a ball of yarn.
Yeah. And then he didn't know what's going on.
Then didn't give a darn.
Didn't give a darn. Yeah. And they still didn't have a maid, so you know he still had to like double time. Now he's working double time, right? And he's getting upset about that too.
2 shifts.
Yeah, 2 shifts and
back
stuff.
to back.
Yeah. And anyway, so this starts to like mess with his head. So now every day in, day out, night, day, whatever, no matter what time it is, when he's in the farmhouse, he's hearing these things, knocks, taps, like groaning. Suddenly he'll hear something like running or like heavy footsteps in the attic. So he'd go in, check, there's no one there. Over the period of time, the footsteps, like I said, turned worse. It turned heavier, and he became more prominent. Now the thing is that the husband was the only one who was experiencing this. Yeah. First the maid left. Now it's just the husband, Andreas. Okay. Yeah. So when Andreas is experiencing this, no one else is, corroborating his story. Yeah. And he's thinking, oh fuck, what is going on? Like, am I losing my mind? Yeah. And one fine day, he fucking comes down in his house, right? He's working in the barn or whatever, and then he comes in his house and he finds this newspaper. That is the newspaper from Munich. And he's like, what the shit? And it actually looks like a newspaper that someone's actually read. Oh, okay. So it's like someone's been sitting there and reading the newspaper. And he asks his wife, he's like, Kazilia, did you, have you seen, like, did you guys, like, subscribe to this, or did you get it from somewhere? Did some guest come in? Yeah. Is your ex-boyfriend coming home with the, whatever? Anyway, so he tried to ask everyone in his family, like, who's put this newspaper here? Toria didn't know the answer. The 7-year-old obviously didn't know the answer. The wife, Kazilia, didn't know the answer. Mm-hmm. So they were still in the confusion as to, like, what's going on. Like, and though the family, like the other people in the family didn't take much, give it much importance, the man, Mr. Andreas, was going crazy. Yep. And he's like, what the shit, man? Like, this is now knocks, and now this mysterious paper just appears in the house. Yep. Now the thing is that days passed, okay? Now days go by, and he still hears these sounds. He still hears these knocks, these groanings. It doesn't let him sleep in the night, and there's all sorts of psychological shit that's going on with him, right? Yep. Days leading up to the very gruesome thing that happened to the family, he goes to the backyard and he opens his back door, and there was like this snow, one whole layer of snow had fallen, and so he finds these footprints. But Josh, you gotta imagine this, okay? The footprints stops at his back door towards him. It's not the opposite way, it's towards him. So from the woods, the footsteps come into the backyard, into the back door. He's like, what the shit? So he goes around to his family and he's like, hey, look, there's like these footsteps that are coming towards the house. Do you know, like, did anyone go to the woods? These are really big boot marks, and these are massive boot marks, like worker boot marks, right? And so the family says, no, there's no one's coming, like no one's come into the house, like there's no one other than you who like keeps working and stuff, so we don't know, like, you tell us, So he goes paranoid. He fucking goes and picks his axe up, and it's called a mallet. It's similar to an axe. He takes the mallet, he goes up to the attic again, he goes, checks around, nothing, and he goes, checks every corner of this house, but he can't find anything, no one there. So he said, you know what, I'm gonna follow these foot tracks, right? These footprints, boot prints. So he goes to the backyard, he opens the door, and he starts following the footprints to where it's originated, right? As soon as it reaches the border of the woods, right, the forest, it mysteriously disappears. Oh, of course. There's no footprints that are past the wood line, the forest line. Yeah. Okay. You know what the most creepy part is, Josh? What? Is that there is only footprints coming into the house, but not leaving. Nothing. So there's just one-sided boot prints. So he's wondering, if there is anyone who's entered, is either stopped at the front door or the back door or gone around the house. So he goes around the house and he finds nothing. The boot prints stop at the back door. Andreas is anyways losing his mind. Now he's even worse because now he's paranoid that someone is inside his house. So he keeps checking. He's frantic. He checks every corner of the house, goes up and down the stairs, whatever, and he keeps running around and like a madman, right? Now things start going missing in his house as well. And for the thing that they actually notice that keeps disappearing is the house keys. So this house keys, they suddenly, it just goes missing. And they find it like after like 5-6 days, and then suddenly it goes missing again, and no one knows where it is. And then one fine day it just goes missing, and apparently we don't know exactly what happened, but the house keys were never found after that.
Yep.
He goes to the neighbor and he says, "Look, I found these footprints like coming into my house from the farms. Do you guys know of anything that's happening? Like if you going through the same thing in your property?" And they're like, "No, not really, like we don't find any, like we haven't seen anything like that." And he also mentions that his house keys had gone missing. Now this is the thing, if the family is murdered, the whole family is murdered, who knows the story? Like how do we know the story? It's obviously because he shared these things with the neighbors. He also mentioned that there were strange noises coming from the attic at night, and that the family dog, he would look at this very particular spot and he would just keep barking. There was nothing there and he just keep barking. And then he also mentions that, we had a maid who quit earlier, saying that she felt this place was haunted. But not just the footprints or the footsteps in the attic. Yeah. Every time she would just stand or cook or whatever she was doing, she would feel like someone's watching over her constantly. Days go by, okay? And it's the same thing, same shit. Every day that he's going through, he's going crazy. Now, certain reports also say that Andreas was actually going like psychotic. Like he was actually losing his mind. Like it became really bad at one point, okay? Now comes the 31st of March. They find a new maid called Maria. Maria comes to the house and she meets the family and stuff, and she realizes the old man Andreas is like a bit psychotic, like he's not himself. He just keeps looking around the corners.
He's a bit delulu.
He goes to the attic suddenly and stuff like that. When she's talking or when they're talking to each other, he's probably not looking at her. He's just looking everywhere else. When Maria comes home, everything is quiet. She doesn't hear anything in the house, no knocking, tapping, whatever. She meets the family, she meets the kids, meets old man Andreas, and she's ready to start her work. So what happens is that day, 31st of March, she goes, they show her the maid's quarter, like the room that she's gonna live in. She puts a bag there, and then something really bad happens. Now on the 31st of March, Maria's sister had escorted her there and left the farm a short day after, okay? Now she was most likely the last person to see the inhabitants alive. Maria had only worked for one day before the murders, Josh, okay? Now it appears that in the late evening, Victoria Gabriel, her 7-year-old daughter Kazelia, and her parents Andreas and Kazelia were lured to the family barn. Everyone in the family, Josh, were lured one by one into the barn through the stable, where they were murdered one by one. And whoever murdered them, they used a mattock. It's the axe, basically, right? That belonged to the family. And they killed them with blows to the head of these family members. It was not a messy crime scene. That's the thing. It was not a frantic killing. It was not like manic. It was very well organized. So every person, or every time a person was lured into the barn through the stable, the perpetrator would shank them, whatever, like beat them, not shank them, but beat them on the head with the axe, put their body very nicely, somewhat respectfully, and then put a stack of hay on top of it. Then they would get the other family member, or lure the other family member to the barn, kill them, bludgeon them, again, put their bodies very respectfully, very neatly, and put another stack of hay on it. every family member was lured the same way. Little Joseph or Joseph was in his room in the bassinet. Okay, it's 2. They found his body in the bassinet.
Oh.
But Mary Baumgartner, she was found in her bed chamber, in her quarters, basically. Some reports,
she had nothing to do with it.
Exactly, and just one day of work. Josh. Apparently, some reports say that she didn't even unpack. And this is what happened, right? And some reports also say that, now this is like too much detail, but some of the investigative reports say that there was also like there was a book next to her. Probably she was she was reading herself to sleep. It's a new place, she must be anxious, whatever, But anyway, now after the murders had taken place, the whole family, including the new maid, was wiped out. They were completely gone, right? But the story doesn't end here, because no one found the bodies for 4 days after the murders. On April the 1st, coffee sellers Hans and Edward arrived in the Hinterkaifeck to take an order for the coffee, for their drinks, right? When no one responded to the knocks on the door and the window, they walked around the yard. This is 4 days after, okay? Walked around the yard but found no one. They noticed that the gate to the machine house was open. However, they just left. They said, you know what, family's probably not here. Let's bugger off. But Cazelia Gabriel was absent from school without an excuse for the next few days. And the family failed to show up for Sunday worship as well in their church. And this is where people started noticing that, oh shit, something's wrong. There was a local mechanic, Albert Hoffner. He went to the Hinterkaifeck farm on 4th of April to repair an engine. He stated that, and when the police asked him, he stated that he had not seen any of the family or heard anything but the sound of the farm animals and the dog inside the barn. Now, after waiting for an hour, he decided to start his repairs anyway, right? Which he had completed in roughly about 4.5 hours. But he still didn't see anyone there. Around 3:30 p.m., okay, now we're talking about the 4th of April, okay, 3:30 p.m., Lorenz Schlittenbauer sent his son Johann, 16, and stepson Joseph to see whether they could make contact with the family. When they reported that they had seen no one there, Lorenz headed to the farm the same day with Michael and Jacob. Upon entering the barn, they found the bodies. They were the ones who found the body. Okay, they found the bodies of Andreas, his wife Cazelia, his daughter Victoria, and the granddaughter Cazelia, the junior, small, little Cazelia. Shortly after, they had found the chambermaid Maria and the youngest family member Joseph murdered in the home.
Shit.
Now, this is the creepiest part. Why did it take 4 days for people to actually notice? For the 4 days, neighbors reported that they saw smoke coming out of the chimney. Okay?
So they just assumed everything was
fine. They
fine.
just assumed that people were fine, like there was firewood being burned constantly. Also, when the investigators finally came, when Lorenz, reported to the police, the investigators concluded that the killer or killers had stayed at the farm for several days after the murders. And not just stayed, they had fed the livestock, they had milked the cows, they had prepared meals, and even used the fireplace. And hence people thought that it was just going like normal, like they heard the dogs barking, the dog barking, they heard the livestock, they heard the cows moving or whatever. There was also freshly baked bread that was found in the oven.
Yikes.
But the scary part is that he or she, whatever, stayed in the house for like 4 consecutive days, slept there, ate meals, fed the dogs, fed the animals. It just made it much more eerie because there was cash, there was money, but nothing from the house was stolen. Not a single dime was taken out of the house. Nothing. Not the
Except
furniture.
Except for that fucking pantry that got raided, apparently.
Yeah. Other than the firewood, nothing else was used. Yeah.
What a prick, man. At least take something. Take a fucking
the murders were for nothing.
Or
exactly. Yeah. And the thing is that there was valuables in the house. So the old man had expensive machinery. Nothing was touched. Okay. And that makes it much more even creepier.
Yeah.
The murder weapon was never definitely found, but a bloodied pickaxe like a mattock, was discovered hidden in the attics months later.
Okay.
After the murder. Over the period of time, Josh, in relations to this case, over 100 suspects were interrogated by the police, including a man Victoria had once dated.
Oh.
Bitter neighbors, and anyone, in the matter of fact, that were associated with the problem with. Exactly. Even former soldiers who had come back from the war and they were there, are they going through PTSD? Is there a reason why they would have done this? But nothing. There was no suspects. There were like a lot of suspects, but there was no one. No one was ever caught. No one was ever caught. Exactly. Some theories suggest that Victoria was planning to leave with Joseph, and someone in the family might have not liked this. Others believe that it would be a crime of revenge. Was it the father who lost his head and killed all of them?
But then why would he take his life?
So is it a murder-suicide?
Unless he threw himself on the top bale or something.
And
the bale or heck.
Yeah.
No. I feel like it would have just been like, and just fell on the top bale.
On the hay bale. Yeah. But then that theory doesn't really match the way he was killed himself. Okay. But there is another theory that is the most chilling theory about this particular story. The theory is that the killer was living in the house months before the murders. He was watching them, waiting and watching for months in the attic. He just lived there.
Yeah, but old man went to the attic.
Yes, and again, that is just a theory. Did he go into the attic and did he check everything? Is the attic in a way, it does it have these, like these blind spots in the attic, if you call them blind spots, whatever. If you have these like nooks and crannies where someone could actually go into the wall. You know how sometimes these log houses like got like 2 layers of walls, one from the outside, one from the inside for insulation. What if someone was actually living there? Who knows? In between the insulation. So who knows? And that's one of the theories, that there was someone who was watching them constantly. Look, despite so many attempts of trying to solve this case, no one could ever find who the killer is. To the point where this case was reopened in 2017, and still no one could even understand why this happened. The Hinterkaifeck farmhouse was eventually torn down, and so all the evidence was gone. A small shrine, though, there is a small shrine that's built in the memory of the family, but other than that, there is no farmhouse there anymore. So any kind of forensic lead that you would get, or because blood can stay in places where for years to come.
If it's preserved well.
And not just preserved, like there are like murder cases that have been solved where people like have like modern forensic can actually pick up blood from like ages ago. But the house was torn down, so there's no chance of ever getting
no way for them to actually
find anything. As for the killer, if they were a local, they may have died of old age by now, right? Taking their secret with them. If they were a drifter, which was one of the other cases of other theories, they vanished without a trace. But the story still carries on, Josh. What happened in the Hinterkaifeck farmhouse? No one knows. Who walked through that snow with just one set of footprints coming into the house and never walked out? Did he just walk out after the family was killed? Okay. Unfortunately, we have to leave our, listeners on a cliffhanger because we ourselves don't know what's going on. If you find this episode interesting, or if you have any
of your own theories,
send it to us or put it down in the comments. Or if you have stories similar to this, send it to us. Our email will be put in the show notes, right?
But I will throw a theory in here. The horse did it.
The horse did it.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Horse put on boots and was like, look at me, I am a human.
Yeah,
I'm going to go cook the eggs and the breakfast. Yeah. So that's probably what happened. That's probably
it. Who did it? Did he do it?
Did he did it?
Yeah. Now, despite hundreds of interviews and multiple investigations, the case went cold. Okay?
Much like the snow.
To this day, the murders remain Germany's most chilling unsolved mysteries. Look, this is all for me for tonight.
Yeah.
Until then,
go have a cigarette.
Yeah.
Because it's time for a smoke break.
Adios.
Deuces.